Hello everybody and welcome to episode 50 of the Ask the Coach show. In today's show we're going to talk about changing the service rule, deadly long pimples, how to improve, where to place your first attack, and the backhand tomahawk serve. And with me as always to answer your table tennis questions is Super Coach Alois Rosario. Welcome Alois.
Thanks Jeff, and did you say 50? Wow.
I did say 50. It's a large number, isn't it?
It is a big number. That's 50 early morning wake-ups, Jeff. That's impressive.
It is, yeah, especially for me. I think you're a bit more of a morning person, aren't you?
I
am. Oh, dear. Yeah, well, we've got a lot to discuss in today's show. Our PingPod 42, Alois, generated a lot of discussion. It was about changing the service rules.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? And I think it's just created discussion because it's such a controversial area or difficult area of the game. People feel the pain out there, you know, like people in the clubs are really struggling with this rule. You know, whether it's the enforcement of it, whether it's the actual rule, people just, yeah, that's the thing that people are really feeling when they're playing the game out there.
Yeah, it is. I think there was two different reactions though. Some people were like, oh, not another rule change, guys. Don't suggest that. Just leave the game alone. So some people were sick and tired of the rule changes.
Yeah, that's true. But, yeah, there was a lot that wanted something done about the service rule, though, in particular.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like rule changes just for the sake of rule changes, but this one I feel needs to be changed because the umpires just can't enforce it.
Larry's suggestion got a bit of support. Sorry, yeah, Larry Hodges' suggestion got a bit of support, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And when we mentioned it on the ping pod, we sort of talked about you having to have two umpires, but he was saying we got that slightly wrong because he was saying you don't even at the club where you don't need two umpires, having that rule is still going to be easy for the players to enforce because it's such a wide area where the umpires would sit. It would still be effective, and you can still judge it without too many arguments because it's almost like saying you've got to stand front onto the table.
Yeah. So maybe that's an interesting idea. And Philip Boyle's idea of the double service was less popular, but yeah, it did have some support.
Yes. And someone pointed out that for pen holders without the reverse pen hold backhand, it would be very difficult serving from the forehand side because your backhand's so exposed, and that was a good point. So
yeah, that is a good point, isn't it? Yeah, the pen holders may be at more of a disadvantage. So yeah.
Interesting discussions. Anyway, so you can head to PingSkills.com, click on the blog link, and you'll find the PingPod 42 in that area. You can always scroll down and click on Pig Pods to see all the Ping Pods. As you can click on Ask the Coach show to see all the Ask the Coach shows. So PingSkills.com and click on the blog link. All right, Alois, yesterday's question of the day was, is Tenergy worth the money? What do you think?
Yeah, I think for 99% of the population, no, it isn't. Maybe even more. I think the Tenergy is a really, really good rubber. Don't get me wrong. I think it is the best rubber out there. But the cost of it is just way too high, and the benefits to your average mug punter like myself, even like playing at the level now, it just doesn't make enough of a difference. So I think there's a lot of other rubbers out there that you can use, and you can almost get two wears of of another rubber compared to the Tenergy. Yeah,
interesting. I have to tend to agree with you, and we don't focus on equipment here too much because we think it's more about the technique. So if you're looking for value for money, then I think there are better alternatives. If money's no concern for you, then and you are at a high level, because Tenergy is a really fast rubber, so you need good control before you use it. But if money's no object and you're a really good player, then I think the Tenergy is a good option.
Yeah, so when we're talking about a really good player, I mean, there's different scales of really good player. There's lots of really good club players, but I'm talking about, the top 200, 300 players in the world. If you're up at that level, I think it's useful. Other than that, probably, I mean, there's lots of other rubbers that you can play with.
Excellent. All right. So let's move on to the PingSkills question for today. And being episode 50 of the Ask the Coach show, we want some feedback from you guys. So we want to know, what is your favourite part of PingSkills? Is it the Ask the Coach show, the lessons, the blogs, the Bolt, or something else? So let us know. Leave a comment in the notes or on our blog, and we'd love to hear from you. All right, Alois. Now we want to talk about deadly long pimples. So Jared wants to know, which is the deadlier? Long pimples with no sponge, which they call ox, or with sponge, and which has more control?
Yeah, so here I've got a sheet of long pimples. See that there? That's faint long. And underneath, you'll see that there's no sponge underneath that. Yeah. So sometimes they have sponge underneath there, so there's just the wood underneath, and sometimes, yeah, they just have it without sponge, which is called ox. So without sponge, like this one, you can get a better effect. So the reversal of the spin, as we call it, is greater. With sponge, you get a little bit better control of the ball, because the ball's got a bit more to bite into or to sink into and control the ball, whereas the ball comes out very fast, because behind it it's just wood. So for more effect, the ox or the no sponge. For better control for yourself, sponge is better.
Okay, good explanation. I hope that clears things up for you, Jared. And if you get a chance, let us know what you're using at the moment. Okay, now Gary has a question, and he says, when you start your attack, should you be looking to hit at your opponent's elbow or a wide angle? I've found that the wide angles aren't always available to me, especially early in the rally when we're both in a good position to play from the forehand and backhand.
Yeah, so I think, wide is good, but the elbow position, or playing into their middle, my left-hander, playing into their armpit, is a really useful tactic, and it's a really effective way of making your first attack, or effective place to make your first attack. Especially if the other person's a really good blocker, or a really good mover. So they enjoy sort of getting the ball there and there. From here, they switch quickly from this side to that side. If they've got to play the ball from the middle, it's either going to be this, or they need to move out of the way to make that block from the middle. So the middle position is a really good option, and always look at it as an option. So even if you've got the option to go wide, sometimes playing the ball into the middle is good. So I think just explore the three, but there's lots of options. Options going wide, or into the middle all the time, whenever you've got an opportunity to attack.
Yeah, excellent points there. So often when we practice, though, we'll practice just playing straight to someone's forehand. Should we be actually practicing going wider and going into the middle when we train?
Yeah, it's a good idea. So often when we do our drills, so all our footwork drills and things, we always just do it to the other person's backhand position or the other person's forehand position. Sometimes doing those drills to the middle is good, because it starts to give you ideas of how to find their middle as well, because it's not all that easy to find their middle. So it's not necessarily the middle line of the table, it's wherever the person is, and it's where their armpit or elbow position is. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. And also playing wide sometimes. Instead of playing just to their backhand, practice playing the ball to the wide position. Often we play just to a simple position for the blocker so that they can control the ball better, so that they can hit the ball back for us consistently, so that we can practice our footwork or whatever it is. But yeah, sometimes it's a good option to practice playing that ball to a different position or a more awkward position for the blocker.
Yeah, I think so, because if you're always playing to one position, then in a game just to start playing wide, it could be a bit tricky. So I think it is a good idea to practice those different angles sometimes. All right, now Rowan wants to know about the backhand tomahawk serve. He wants to do it, but he wants to have his feet in the normal tomahawk serve position, so it creates an off-putting effect. What do you think about this, Alois?
Yeah, Rowan. Yeah, good. And I think that's really important that you do have the same feet position. So set yourself up at the table, and your start position can be the same. So your start position can be here. For the normal tomahawk, you just come here and out that way. For the backhand tomahawk or reverse tomahawk, you're here, and then you're turning the bat at the very last second to change the angle and change the spin. So the normal tomahawk, same position, square yourself up here and tomahawk. The backhand tomahawk or reverse, you're here, and then at the last second you change direction and finish across your body that way. So, and that just helps to add to the deception or the confusion for your opponent.
Yes, and it's not a lot of people using that serve. So I think if people haven't been used to returning a serve, then they can struggle with it. So it's often good to have a bit of a variation that's not so popular, Alois.
Yeah, that's right. And Kenta has done really well, and Ding Ning uses it a lot with really good effect.
Yes. Okay. All right. Now, Dakota says, I'm at a crossroad of how to improve, seeing as I don't have people better than me to play against. Can I try to attain better form in the middle part of the game, and is it worth the effort, or should I stick with drills that I can do alone?
Yeah, so I think, Dakota, you probably need to do both, but it's important to utilize that game time and to utilize your the skills that you're trying to improve in that game situation. So definitely use that game time. In another part of the question, you said that the players that you play with don't want to do training; they just want to play games. So if you haven't got that option, then utilize the game situation for what you want to do. Okay, you want to practice your forehand topspin. So in any game, you might want to say, all right, I'm going to do lots of forehand topspins in this game, and practice getting into position and playing your forehand topspin. Or you might want to practice your placement. So in this game, I'm not really going to care about the result, but I'm going to try to place the ball wide or into the middle, as we talked about previously today.
Yeah. So I guess there's certain things you can practice in a game, but obviously it's better if you can find people that want to practice. And I guess trying to find a club in your area is a good way to do that.
Yeah, it is. Definitely that's the best way to practice, to find a training partner, get out there and spend plenty of time out there doing some drills and then playing some, points and matches and all that sort of stuff as a combination. You also mentioned, should I do training drills that I can do by myself? Training drills by yourself are okay if you completely haven't got anyone else to play with, but table tennis is an interactive game. It's about seeing what the other person does, reacting to what they do and the ball that's coming at you. So, it's reasonably important that you try to get out there and try to find someone to play with or utilize that game time.
Yes, all right, we'll give that a go, Dakota. Hopefully that helps out. So you can do all of that. Keep doing some practice by yourself. Service is a great one you can do by yourself. In the games, just try and work on parts of your game, especially if you're playing against people that are better than you, or that you're better than. But really, if you can, search for a club. It will be a great experience. All right, well, Alois, I can't believe it, but that wraps up episode 50. Congratulations on getting to 50 shows.
Yeah, well done, Jeffrey. Well done on 50 wake-ups.
Yes, indeed. So, everybody, thank you for your support. We appreciate all the kind comments we're getting about the show. We're glad you're enjoying it. Make sure you check out PingSkills.com. As I mentioned earlier, click on the blog link to see all 50 Ask the Coach shows and leave a comment on some of the shows today. Let us know what your favourite part of PingSkills is. And we will see you again tomorrow for show 51. Thanks again, everyone, and thank you, Alois.
Thanks, Jeff, and thanks, PingSkills, for your great support. See you tomorrow morning.